Alright guys, I just picked up the CoinUp 1UP from Adam over at One Circuit, and I'm going to install it into my Space Invaders Cocktail Table so that I can get free play and not have to worry about opening the actual table part of the cocktail table to put in credits every single time. So the goal of the CoinUp is to allow free play on games that either don't have free play or where free play puts the game on a static screen and will, eventually cause burn-in. So by putting this in, you don't need to put the game on free play. You can just walk up to it and push the 1-player or 2-player start, and the game will start. A few wires do need to be connected to the device, and that would be the ground, the player 1 start, the coin switch, and the player 2 start. Now it says that the 5-volt wire may need to be connected, but Adam says that if when we've connected all the other wires except for the 5-volt and we get over 3 volts across the terminal block, which is over across this, then we do not need to put the 5-volt in there. And I'll check that when I install this into my Space Invaders cocktail table. So here is the wiring diagram and how you would typically wire the CoinUp. So here's my terminal block over here on the CoinUp, and it states which each part of the terminal block does. So the wires that I'm going to connect first will be the ground wire, which goes to the first terminal block. Then I've got a player 2 start, which I'll wire in the next one. Then I've got the coin wire, which comes from the coin switch, which will go into the 3rd spot on the terminal block, followed by the player 1 start, which will go on this 4th spot here. Now this last spot on the terminal block is for the 5 volts if I'm not getting enough voltage across the terminal block. And what I'll do is I'll put my ground on the ground part of the terminal block and then just test it on another point on the terminal block to make sure I've got enough voltage going through it. My plan is to use these quick splices to connect it and make my life pretty simple and easy to do it, and I think it'll make it look a little bit cleaner inside that cocktail table, since getting inside that cocktail table is a little difficult to do. And just in case you're wondering, you can pick these up just about anywhere, and this is what the packaging looks like. And I picked these up at the auto parts store, since my local Radio Shack has since gone under. And you can pick them up for about $7 or so for a pack of 25. So the next thing I'm going to do is attach this quick splice with a ground wire to my existing ground wire that's here inside the cocktail table. So what I'll do is I'll see if we can focus in on that. Let's see if we can get some more light. And we will try to attach this quick splice just so you can see how that's done. So here's my quick splice. My new wire in here. And this just kind of goes around the existing one. And this goes in the other side of the quick splice. We'll go ahead and we'll close that. I'll see if I can close that with a pair of pliers. Once that's closed, it should snap on, stay snapped, and there we go. That quick splice is in, and that's ready to be attached to my CoinUp as soon as that is installed. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll attach the other wires to their respective locations and attach the CoinUp. Alright, so I've gone ahead and put all my wires into where they need to be, and now what I need to do is start by putting my ground wire in. I just want to double check my orientation, and the ground wire is the first terminal block in the end, so I've stripped all my wire ends. That just goes in. We'll go ahead and we'll tighten that down, and then I will go through and do the rest of them. Alright, That first ground wire is in. And now I'll go ahead and I'll do the next wire, which is the player 1 start in that terminal. After I do the player 1 start, the next one in the following terminal right here is the coin switch, followed by the player 2 start. I will leave this last terminal open just in case I don't have 5 volts. So as you guys can kind of see, I just used the quick splice connectors to connect to the wiring harness for player 1 and player 2 and the coin, and that proved to be much easier than cutting and splicing and soldering and doing it that way. So now I'll go ahead and I'll put my player 1 wire in. So there's player 1 in. I'll just screw that in. Okay, so now I've got the ground wire in and the player 1 start wire in. Next up is the coin switch. So I've gone ahead and put the remaining wires into my CoinUp and connected the rest of the wires, and I double checked everything, and now we should be good to go. So what I'll do is I'll turn on the game and we'll test it out. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is just set my dip switch settings. Now the device comes with everything set to off. So I want to enable this device. I'm going to take switch 1 and we'll switch the first switch on. So switch 1 is now on. And now I want to double check switch 2. So that's disable the 2x coin multiplier. So it's off right now, which means 2 credits giving me a 1-player game and 4 credits give me a 2-player game, which isn't what I want to do. This is just 1 credit equals the first player and 2 credits equals a 2-player game. So I'm going to set the second switch to on. And now this is not a Sega Vector game, so my normal coin pulse length will be fine. I don't need to shorten it. Ooh, that's a good question. Do I leave it off? Or do I leave it on? Well, I'm just going to leave it off for now. Normal coin pulse length. Or do I shorten it? Well, let's put it to normal. So I will switch the first one to on. Let's turn that on and give it a shot and see if that works. Alright, so what I should be able to do is I should be able to push player 1 and I should get 1 credit and the game should start. I heard it click and 1 player started. And there we go. That works. Alright, let's die and let that game restart and we'll test out the 2-player. Okay, so I've died, game over. Now let's go ahead and test out the 2-player button. So I'll go ahead and I'll push 2-player, and it clicked twice. 2-player game has started. Perfect. That's exactly what I want it to do. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'll turn the game off, and CoinUp is right here, so I'm going to actually mount that on the bottom so that it's not free floating there. Alright, so the CoinUp is now mounted down at the bottom, right down here, just right by the coin switch. So easy access if I need to open it, and now I don't have to have people opening up my cocktail table to coin it up. Alright, thanks a lot guys, hope that was useful to you. I think it was a worthwhile investment. The hardest part was probably trying to find the wires to attach it to and get access to them in this cocktail table. I think in an upright cabinet it might be a little bit easier. Alright guys, thanks a lot.